What is the Matrix?
Your mind. You must unlearn what you have learned.
Hi, and welcome to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, the Targeted Individual Experience. I want to do a very short video um, section right now. Uh, just some things that, again, after being attacked so heavily, um, just bringing awareness and educating people on the deception, the lies, deceit, the propaganda, the false witnesses, the honey traps, the drugging, the manipulation of our emotions, of our thoughts. Uh, I usually talk about the directed energy weapons, but tonight I'm not going to talk about that too much. But I do want to talk about is psyops, psyops, and the cults, cults who are being manipulated into participating in psychological operations. Okay, and so the very first uh, article I want to read from is called River Cities Reader. Okay. And this is uh, Masters of Deceit. I'm going to repeat that. Masters of Deceit. Okay. You have to remember and understand that governments hold the power to destroy and take away anyone's life, their ability to work, their ability to have a family, their ability to be educated. Governments have that power to strip anyone of anything that they own, including their uh, house, car, bank accounts, and yes, even your children and you yourself. So, why is it that, again, people participate in this stuff, right? And, just do my years of research, I got to tell you that one of the major factors in which government recruit individuals, well, we call them perps, is through religion. Okay, when the government infiltrate a religious group or religious sect, whatever you want to call them, uh, the person who they sent or the people who they sent to infiltrate those groups, those religious groups, are highly skilled, highly trained, and they are especially trained in psychological manipulation. Okay, so this article is again Masters of Deceit, the government propaganda of fear, and as I talk about government training these agents to infiltrate into the churches, right here. Okay, so as I'm reading this article, whenever I hear a sound, every time I hear a sound, I will uh, play that song, play that sound, and then I'll give you guys the context in which I'm playing the sound because of what's happening outside. So whether I'm hearing sirens, car honking, helicopters, other emergency vehicles, um, I will play the sound. Okay? It is the function of mass agitation to exploit all the grievances, hopes, aspirations, prejudice, fears, and ideals of all the special groups that make up our society: social, religious, economic, racial, political. Stir them up, set one against the other, divide and conquer. That's the way to soften up a democracy. J. Edgar Hoover, Masters of Deceit. The US government have become a master of deceit. It's all documented too. This is a government that lies, cheats, steals, spies, kill, maims, uh, enslave, break the law, overreach its authority, and abuse its power at almost every turn. Treats its citizens like faceless statistics, an economic unit to be bought, sold, bartered, trade, and tracked, and wage war for profit, jails its own people for profit, and has no qualm about spreading its reign of terror abroad. Worse, this is a government that has become almost indistinguishable from the evil it claims to be fighting. Whether that evil takes the form of terrorism, torture, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, murder, violent theft, pornography, scientific experiments, or some other diabolical means of inflicting pain, suffering, and servitude on humanity. With very few passing day, it becomes painfully clear that this is not a government that can be trusted with your life, your loved ones, your livelihood, or your freedom. Just recently, for example, the Pentagon was compelled to order a sweeping review of clandestine U.S. psychological warfare operation, PSYOPS, conducted through social media platforms. The investigation comes in response to reports suggesting that the U.S. military has been creating bogus persona with AI generated profile pictures and fictitious media sites on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram in order to manipulate social media users. Psychological warfare, as the U.S. Army's 4th Psychological Operation Group explained in a recruiting video released earlier this year, enables the government to pull the string, turn everything they touch into a weapon, be everywhere, be everywhere, deceive, pursue, change, influence, and inspire. Of the many weapons in the government's vast arsenal, psychological warfare, or PSYOPs, can take many forms: mind control experiments, behavioral nudging, propaganda. In the 1950s, MK Ultra, the mind control program developed under CIA Director Alan Dulles as part of his brain warfare Cold War campaigns, subjected hundreds of unsuspecting American citizens and military personnel to doses of LSD, some having the hallucinogenic drug slipped into their drink at the beach, in city bars, at restaurants. For Operation Midnight Climax, the CIA hired prostitutes to lure men into a bug room where they were doused with where they would be doused with LSD and observed having sex. Well, they don't even need to get you into a hotel room. Okay, they have satellites that can see into your home, and if you're a TI, you know you've been microchipped. So we're talking about radio wave, microwave frequency, sender receiver, microchip implanted in your mind, in your brain, I should say. Okay, so they don't gotta have the spy satellite spying you or plant a camera in your bedroom or wherever. They're using you. You are the hack person. You are the hack camera. Your eyes or the hack camera. Okay, understand this. As Brianna Nofel explained, MK Ultra's mind control experiments generally centered around behavior modification via electroshock therapy, hypnosis, polygraph radiation, and a variety of drugs, toxin, and chemicals. The CIA spent nearly 20 million on its MK Ultra program, reportedly as a means of programming people to carry out assassination and, to a lesser degree, inducing anxieties and erasing memories before it was supposedly shut down. As one report as one study reported, detainees held in CIA safe house abroad were literally interrogated to death in experimental method combining drugs, hypnosis, and torture to attempt to master brainwashing techniques and memory erasing. Similarly, the top secret Montauk Project, the inspiration of the hit Netflix series Stranger Things, allegedly was working to develop mind control techniques that would be tested out on locals in the nearby village, triggering crime raves. Okay, listen to this now. So, mind control techniques, right, to be tested out on locals at a nearby village, triggering crime waves and causing teenage to congregate. As journalist Lauren Bolsonaro conclude, despite MK Ultra violating ethical norms for human experiments, the legacy of brainwashing experiments continue to live on in the United States. The same method that had once been used to train American soldiers ended up being used to extract information from terrorists in Abu Ghraib, Iraq, and Guantanamo Bay. Fast forward to the present day, and it's clear that the government, aided and abetted by technological advances and scientific experimentation, has updated its psyops warfare for a new era. For instance, the government have been empowered to use its ever expanding arsenal of weapons and technology to influence behaviors in masses and control the populace. It's a short hop, skip, and a jump from a behavioral program that tries to influence how people respond to paperwork to a government program that tries to shape the public views about other more consequential matters, thus increasing governments around the world, including the United States, are relying on nudge units. Okay? Nudge units, remember that, to steer citizens in the direction the powers that be want them to go, while preserving the appearance of free will. So you don't even know, right? You're being programmed, and this program that's being done is being embedded in your subconscious, which you are totally unaware of. Okay? Back in 2014, for example, a fusion center in Washington State, the Department of Homeland Security linked data collection clearinghouse that shares information between state, local, and federal agencies inadvertently released records on remote mind control tactics, the use of psychoelectronic weapons to control people from a distance or subject them to varying degrees of pain. This is how you persuade a populace to voluntarily march in lockstep with a police state and police themselves and each other by ratcheting up the fear factor, melted out one carefully calibrated crisis at a time, and teaching us to distrust any who diverge from the norm. This is not a new experiment in mind control. Add the government inclination to monitor online activities and police so called disinformation, and you have the making of a restructuring of reality straight out of Orwell 1984, where the Ministry of Truth police speech and ensure that facts conform to whatever vision of reality the government propagandists embrace. The policy of the mind control is exactly the danger author Jim Keith warned about when he predicted that information and communication sources are gradually being linked together with a single computerized network, providing providing an opportunity for unheralded control of what will be broadcast, what will be said, and ultimately what will be thought. We have already seen this play out on the federal level with hate crime legislation that cracks down on so-called hate crime thoughts and expression, encourage self-censoring, and reduce free debate on various subject matter. The end of the goal of these mind control programs, packed in the guise of the greater good, is to see how far the American people will allow the government to go in reshaping the country in the image of the totalitarian police state. The government fear mongering is yet another key element in its mind control program. It is a simple enough formula: national crises, global pandemics, reported terrorist attacks, and sporadic shooting leaves us in a constant state of fear. The emotional panic that accompanies fear usually shuts down the prefrontal cortex, or the rational thinking part of our brain. In other words, when we are consumed by fear, we stop thinking. The populace that stop thinking for themselves is the populace that is easily led. Black people, are you listening? The populace that stop thinking for themselves is the populace that is easily led, easily manipulated, and easily controlled, whether through propaganda, brainwashing, mind control, or just plain fear mongering. Fear not only increased the power of government, but it also divides the people into fractions, persuaded them to see persuades them to see each other as the enemy and keep them screaming at each other so that they can drown out all the other sounds. In this way, they will never reach consensus about anything and will be too distracted to notice the police state closing in on them until the final crushing falls. This Machiavellian scheme has so ensnared the nation that few Americans even realize they are being brainwashed, manipulated into adopting an us against them mindset. All the while, those in power, bought and paid for by lobbyists and corporations, move their costly agenda forward. The unseen mechanism of society that manipulate us into uh, through fear into accomplice, compliance is what American theorist Edward L. Bernays referred to as an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. It was almost 100 years ago when Bonnet wrote his phenomenal work, Propaganda. We are governed, our minds are molded, our taste formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of. In almost every act in our lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. It is they who pull the wires which control the mind. As I pointed out in my book, Battlefield America, The War on the American People, and in its fictional counterpart, the Eric Blair Diaries, to this invisible government of rulers who operate behind the scenes, the architect of the deep state. We are mere puppets on the string to be brainwashed, manipulated, and controlled. For years now, the power that be, those politicians and bureaucrats who think like tyrants and act like petty dictators, regardless of what party they belong to, have attempted to brainwash us into believing that we have no rights, to think for ourselves, make decisions about our health, protect our homes and family and businesses, act in the best interest, demand accountability and transparency from government, are generally operate as if we are in control of our own life. Yes, the government is strong. We have every right, and you know why? Because as the Declaration of Independence states, we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights to life, liberty, property, and the pursuit of happiness. And no government can take that away from us. It's time we start reminding the government that we, the people, are the one in charge. I really enjoy reading that. That was an excellent article, excellent read. But again, it just goes to show you how propaganda can be used to recruit people, okay? And particularly when it's being done by someone in the authoritative position, okay? So let's see. Let's move on to the next article. I'll go to sleep. Uh, Army's new PSYOP recruitment ad looks like a terrifying video game cutscene. Ghost in the Matrix is a mix of bizarre and creepy images that sticks in the mind, but probably won't send people running to the recruiter's office. It feels like a lost cutscene from Metal Gear Solid 5. The camera pans through pine barrens and focus on a cartoon ghost tied to a twig. Letters float on the screen while Danica Dora sings Last Goodbye. Born from the ashes, the word says, of a world at war. Then comes a jumbled collection of images and words, all while the background music builds intensity. A ghostly cartoon from the 1930s, a train car, Chinese troop marching, and American soldiers walking through the woods with white masks over their faces. This is no video game cutscene. It is a recruitment ad for the Army 4th PSYOPS group. At first, as first spotted by Task and Purpose, the ad titled Ghost in the Machine dropped on the 4th PSYOP group's YouTube page on May 2nd, 2022, and has racked up 255,000 views since then. It's less, it's less of a direct pitch to join the army than it is a collection of images and sound that evoke a strong emotional response. The song, images, and message create a creeping sense of dread in the viewer. We are everywhere, the ad says, before showing a dancing cartoon ghost on a TV engulfed in flame. A feeling in the dark, a message in the stars, ghosts in the machine. What are we, Cywark? The U.S. Army's 4th Psychological Operation Group are part of the Army's broader psychological operation field, which is a specialization of the Special Operation Forces. The goal, according to the recruitment website, is to bring an unconventional mind to persuade, change, and influence in the world. Okay. So I am going to actually let me just read uh, this right here. So Colonel Chris Strangle, commander of the 4th PSYOP group, told Task and Purpose that the group created the video itself. According to Strangle, the group was to make a video that explained what PSYOPs did while also serving as a recruitment ad. Okay? I read all of it. The ad is certainly affecting. It's memorable in a way that many American military recruitment ads haven't been since a Marine fought a lava monster back in 1998. All branches of the US military are having trouble meeting their recruitment goal. It leads them to try something interestingly new to try some interesting new method of reaching young people like streaming on Twitch. Even in a world of streaming video games and on demand, a short video on YouTube still has the power to go viral and bring millions of eyes, especially when it plays on latent fear and question young people have about the world. Have you ever wondered, Ghost in the Machine asks at the top, who's pulling the strings? The answer, implicit in the ad, is that the Army 4th PSYOPs group is pulling the strings. For a young person looking for answers in an increasingly complicated and weird world, the promise of secret knowledge and the power to act on it is a compelling offer. Okay, so that's two articles. There was another article that I wanted to read, but I am getting ready to go to bed. Like I said, I wasn't really planning to do a video tonight, but I was just sitting here and I was like, okay, just thinking about my target earlier on and yesterday. It's really, really uh, unbelievable to see this thing. The psyops, the hijacking of your conscious mind, or the conscious mind of the people around you. Okay, and again, no one's going to believe you, right? Because they're going to say you're crazy. But again, that is the perfect cover to cover the crimes that they've committed against us. And then on top of that, in order to clear or ease their conscience, if you are in pain, they will manipulate you into not saying anything if you're in pain. You cannot scream out in pain. You cannot moan in pain because the use of is what they use to threaten you into silence. But it does not work with me. Okay. So earlier on, I that's why by Pam, I did a video where um, she had just called me to say no, she called me, she texted me to say she was on her way home. So I said to her, I said, okay, I'll see you when you get here. You know, after I hang up the phone with her, about a few minutes later, uh, I got a phone call from my ex fiance. So at the same time that she called me, okay, and again, this is synchronization now. At this, and he had a because they know what I'm about to expose, okay, and I've exposed it before earlier, but you know, I'm doing it on the desktop, so I got add a little sound effect in there. So the moment she calls me, I hear this. Okay. But what made this different today or earlier was the fact that the helicopter was flying low. So you can really hear it. So began to understand what was happening. Okay. She was being influenced to call me as that helicopter fly close overhead. All right. So after the helicopter passed and left, I went to the bathroom and to sit down to do the video, and I called her back. No, I'm sorry. No, I did the video first, and then after I did the video, I called her back. Right. And it's interesting because we had a conversation. Now I'm getting into detail, but you know, lately conversations have been centered around uh, lesbianism, bisexuality, that sort of thing. Right. So this is how they send you subliminal messages, particularly me. Right. So again, I'm telling her, you know, I said, a lot of the trauma that people go through, particularly in the Black community and in religious communities, where you have, particularly you have sexual uh, um, abuse, that many people don't understand that it is a program that they are downloading into the minds of the so-called uh, pedophile. Okay, not all. Okay, not all. But when you, particularly if you look within the churches, you look within the Catholic Church, you look the Evangelical Church, the Black Baptist Church, Southern Baptist Church, okay, and they all have instances, many instances, in where the pastors or the priests are sleeping with underage boys and girls, okay, and yet people will still go back to that church the very next Sunday or the following day. They will still go back to that church. Okay? So they will accept pedophilia in the churches, in the synagogues, in all the religious institutions, right? And the people that goes to these churches to worship, they also support pedophilia, but they like to think that they don't. Because let me give you guys, let me just say this, all right? When you are a person on YouTube who speak the truth, right? They will cancel you quicker and sooner than the Catholic Church, than the Southern Baptist Church, okay, or any other religious institution. And the people that run these religious institutions, particularly the pastors and the preachers, they engage in the most sexual deviant acts than anybody else. but their congregation comes right back the next Sunday. And no one ever stops to think about why. Why? Okay. So when you go and read Dr. Jose Delgado, okay, that article by the New York Times that says what kind of human being we like to create. When they can download new personalities in our mind, which they've been able to do for over the past 40 years, 4 or 5 decades, but we tend to want to believe it. We want to believe that, oh, these technologies is not going to be coming anytime soon. See, but this is how they trick us. This is how they deceive us because the technology already exists. They want to use it in secret. They want to use it. They want to select targets or TIs to be experimented on, okay, and use it. So we have to become very, very aware of this and understand what's truly going on in order to have some way of fighting back. Okay. So, with that being said, I will speak to you guys on the next video. All right. Please like, share the video. Thank you.